Hey YouTube, this is my review of the SOG Jungle Warrior. I would consider this kind of a budget fighting design. Alright, and I am doing this review in the early morning, so you're going to hear the sounds of nature outside. Enjoy them. Alright, the blade length of this, 9.75 inches. So, I mean, this is almost a 10-inch blade. This is quite a large knife. The weight on this was listed as 16.4 ounces. It actually feels lighter, I think, because it does have good balance, and it is a fairly thin blade. It actually feels very light and very fast in hand. Alright, and as you can see, it is a spear point tip design. It does have a partial hollow grind, and look at the very long swedge going back, more than half the length of the whole spine into that thumb ramp section there. Alright, and the handle, it is full tang. Alright, and the handle is coated with Kraton rubber. Alright, you see the integral guard there. Now this is a big knife. Let me give you a little size comparison. Alright, so you see that's a full-size USMC K-bar fighting knife, and you see the Jungle Warrior substantially longer than a full-sized fighter. The price on this, it's around $50 to $55. So I would consider it kind of in the upper region of the budget price range. Alright, and here's another comparison with another SOG knife in the same line, the Jungle Primitive, which is more of a, it's kind of a mini machete. It's kind of a cross between a knife and a machete. As you can see, they're pretty much the same blade length, and the handles are pretty much identical. The Jungle Primitive is a good deal cheaper. It's like 15, 20 bucks cheaper sometimes. Alright, but yeah, these are both, they're okay for the price. Alright, here's a close-up of the blade itself. You see the grind, and it's not very thick at all, and the swedge just makes it even lighter. And you see the aggressive thumb ramp right there. Pretty nice. You see there are holes through the guard. That is in case you want to lash this and make actually some sort of survival spear or something like that. And you see it is a visible tang right there, and it's kind of a toothy impact surface. Lanyard hole there, and altogether a pretty good handle. Slim, definitely locks you in with the contour of the handle. And as I said, this thing feels extremely light in hand. It is kind of like a cross between a large knife and a machete, just because it's light, fairly thin. You could definitely swing this, clearing a trail, and you wouldn't really get tired because it feels so light. It's not going to fatigue you, even if it's like a mile or 10 of trail. This is the sheath that the knife comes with. You see belt loop right there. Alright, secondary pocket here with Velcro for a multi-tool first aid kit. Alright, it's a fairly lightweight sheath, and you see it has a diagonal retention strap with a button closure. All in all, it's a cheap sheath, but at least it's not like overly bulky. Alright. And deployment, once you undo the strap, there you go. Alright, so that's the sheath that it comes with. Now, to me, this design has basically two uses. One, as I said, you can use it as a small machete. And two, it looks like a fighting design to me. The guard is there to lock you in. It even has this, as a skull breaker. The swedge, to me, obviously, that tip seems designed for defense against hostile animals, hostile humans, enemy soldiers. It's so fast in the hand that it would be pretty, pretty light, agile, devastating. And then they have this thumb ramp here, which, mainly you can use for extra leverage, right, in kind of in close cutting. That's the only time you would use it. Usually you just be like this, but for for the final cut, shall we say. So yeah, this is a very vicious design from SOG. Alright, and here's another size comparison with a cold steel warhead knife. These knives, to me, they're very similar, and they kind of prove that you don't need something super expensive to still be mighty lethal as a design. The cold steel knife is also fairly thin and very fast for its length, and obviously it's double-edged, but the tips are similar, basically vicious spear point shapes. So yeah, it kind of reminds me of this warhead knife. Alright, so overall, where does this knife fit in? You know, this knife is kind of what they call a just-in-case knife. If you really thought you were going to have to use a knife, let's say you're some sort of death commando soldier or something, you'd probably get a more expensive, more high-quality fighting blade. Alright, so if you're buying this, it's probably because you actually don't really expect to ever need it. But, you know, it's kind of like a gun. You just want it in your house just in case maybe some crazy events happen. I know a lot of firearms guys that, you know, they keep an assault rifle or a battle rifle. You know, they keep it with some pouches, ammunition, spare magazines. They keep it as a preparedness tool. If something crazy happens, like the LA riots break out, you know, a mile away, they just want a firearm for the ultimate scenario. And this is the type of knife that you would buy and just put right next to that firearm. Just something that you probably won't use, but you want a bladed weapon, a hand-to-hand weapon, and you don't want to have to spend a lot of money. So yeah, this is kind of like a survival prepping hand-to-hand knife. That's what, you know, that's what I'd call it. There's a lot of people out there that want something like that. So yeah, I mean, for that use, hey, it's a 10-inch freaking blade. It's very wide. It would create a huge wound channel, you know. So that's kind of what I see it as. And in the meantime, you know, hopefully nothing like that happens, but in the meantime, you can definitely use it as a small machete. You can clear brush in your yard. You know, it's basically a cheap small machete with a secondary combat use. So for what it is, you know, I think it's pretty good for the price. All right, stay tuned for many more videos. I'm out of here, dudes. Peace out.